So in example 4, we've been given the function -2 cosine theta plus pi over 6 plus 1, and we need to label the coordinates of the points, of the vertices here, and the middle points. So first thing we want to do is, looking at the function, we want to identify the amplitude, the vertical shift, the horizontal shift, and the period. So the amplitude is based on that 2. So the amplitude is going to be the vertical expansion factor of 2. The vertical shift is, again, on the outside. It's going to be the plus part on the outside, so our vertical shift is plus 1. So that means that that middle line is at y equals 1. Okay? We also know that the distance from the middle to the top, that's our amplitude of 2. I'm just going to draw that in red. We know that this distance is going to be 2. So we can locate the y coordinates of the c value and the e value here by starting at plus 1, and we're going to go up and down 2. The horizontal shift is going to be the inside part. So inside the cosine, we have a plus pi over 6. So the horizontal shift is going to be left pi over 6. It's always opposite. And since the b value is 0, the b value is not 0, the b value is 1. The period is just a regular 2 pi period. Okay, so taking a look at this graph, I've kind of made sure that I can identify one quadrant. So here from the B to the bottom, I've kind of labeled in blue, that's one quadrant. We want to come up with these coordinates, so we have to kind of understand what we're working with. This is a negative cosine graph. There's a negative there. So the graph that we're dealing with is this shape here. So we got to decide where our starting point is. Okay, our starting point is going to be, should match that point there. Okay, so it's going to be that bottom point that we have. So that's going to be our starting point. And I'm just going to get rid of this here. That's our starting point. And so this coordinate, this one I'm marking in green here, must relate to the horizontal shift. So that point there must be at negative pi over 6, because that represents the start position of an upside down cosine graph. And that's upside down because of that negative that we have here. So then I can locate that coordinate here. It's going to be negative pi over 6, and the middle is 1. It's going to go down 2, so it's going to be at negative 1. So I can go back one more quadrant to get the a value. We know the a value is going to be, the y coordinate of the a value is going to be at 1, because that's our middle line. And we have to figure out the location of that point. It's going to be one quadrant back. Well, one quadrant represents pi over 2. So if I start at negative pi over 6, I subtract minus 3 pi over 6, or pi over 2, I end up at negative 4 pi over 6, which I will simplify to negative 2 pi over 3. Okay, so just to show the calculation on the side here, I started negative, but that's my starting position. I'm going to move to the left one quadrant, which is pi over 2. And that gives me negative 2 pi over 3. Okay, so we have to make sure we understand the position, the coordinate that locates position, and then how we move it to the next position. The b value, then, we could do it two ways. I can add I can add one quadrant from negative pi over 6 to b, or I can just go 1/2 period from a to b. So I'm going to do that. I'm just going to go, since that's easier to go half a period, which is pi, I'm going to add pi, and I'm going to end up at positive 1/3 pi and y coordinate of 1. To get to c, I'm going to add pi over 2 So half of pi plus 1/3 pi gives me 5 pi over 6. When I add those fractions together, the y coordinate is going to be based on the middle 1 plus 2, which gives me 3. The d position, we can add half a pi, or I can just add pi from b. So from b to d is 1/2 of a period, or pi. So I'm going to end up with 4 pi over 3 and 1. Position E, we can say is half a period from C to E, or pi, so I'm going to end up at 11 pi over 6. The y coordinate is going to be down 2, using my amplitude of 2, starting in the middle 1, going down 2, I end up at y coordinate of -1.